write down these concepts. Module 5 transport layer. First we'll study about the services and how it is going to work, connection and connectionless oriented, how the protocols will be working. And then we are going to study about the protocols, simple protocol, stop and wait protocol, go back and protocol, and selective repeat protocol. These 4 protocols we are going to study. I'm taking the attendance, just a minute. Wait. Okay. Now, first we'll see the introduction. Transport layer is located between the application layer and the network layer, as I told, and say take the service from the network layer and give a service to the application layer. Take a service from the application layer and give a service to, from the network layer and give a service to the application layer. When we are talking about application layer, there we call it as process-to-process communication. And the network layer we call it as host-to-host communication. A logical connection will take place between the two application transport layers, what we taught. So that things we are going to study here. So communication is provided using a logical connection. Logical connections are imaginary connection. So there will be a connection with respect to the process. And I'm telling about the process. Process is from application layer, a program, a running program from where. So when, for example, email. So you send a mail, you attach some file and you send a mail in your computer to any other destination by giving the email address. So there it will not go to the other process, like it will not open in any folder or it will not open in the websites. It will go to a particular process called Gmail. In that process, in the inbox, it will be open. So that is the meaning of process-to-process communication when we are telling. So when we are sending a file, a process-to-process communication, that is a logical connections takes place between the two sender and receiver. So that is how it is going to take. We are going to see here. The communication is provided using a logical connections, an imaginary connection between the application or layers, which means that the two application layers, which can be located in different parts of the globe, assume that there is an imaginary direct connections through which they can send and receive the message. It's not a physical connection; it's an imaginary connections between the layers, that is the transport layers or application layers. So within the two layers only, the logical connections will be there. When it comes to network layer, data link layer, and physical layer, they are host-to-host communication. So it will just find through which direct path it should follow. So we will see in this diagram. So you can see here there is a from transport layer to transport layer or from application to application, there will be a logical connection. In between, there will be a routers, WAN, LANs, etc., etc. These are host-to-host communication, one we tell when we are transferring a packet. So, but here you can see the logical connection, imaginary connection to a particular process. The process is a program, running program in your house. Example, I give what you regularly use is client to server, that is browsing. So browser will connect to a server and you give some Google, www.google.com. So that you are a client, the client message will be sent to a server and particular website will be open, or in a particular website, whatever you are searching, to that particular website will be open, or if you are sending a Gmail. So these are the examples where the process in the application layer, it is a process. From there, we are going to, there will be imaginary connections. So that is what we call it as logical connection. We'll understand the services of a transport layer. The transport layer is located between the network layer and application layer, as I said, and the transport layer is responsible for providing service to the application layer, and it takes a service from the network layer. So here we are going to talk about the two way of communications, protocols what we talk, that is process to process communication. It is the duty of a transport layer to provide a process to process communication. Process is a running program at the application layer. Remember that process is a running program at the application layer. So now we are going to connect a process is an application layer entity that uses the service of the transport layer. So we need to understand the difference between host to host communication and process to process communication. So up to now, when you study about the network layer, that is host to host communication. Take the IP address from router to router, how the packet should move. That will use the host to host communication. When it comes to the transport layer, the message when the packet is received to the destination, at the destination it is the process of communication is not completed because it will only reach to the destination, but it will be not knowing where to run or how to deliver the message. So only the process to process communication will complete the total communication here. The network layer is responsible for communication at the computer level. A network layer protocol can deliver the message only to the destination computer, but however, this is incomplete delivery. Why? Because just the packet is received, but the total process will not be completed until it is moved to a particular what we call it a particular process where it want to run. So the message still needs to be handed to the correct process. This is where a transport layer protocol takes over. So this is what the service provided by the transport layer, a process to process communication from sender to receiver. So a transport layer protocol is responsible for delivery of the message to the appropriate process. Shows the domains of a network layer and the transport layer. You can see here at the network layer, you will be having a connection between host to host, between this is source, this is destination. If you consider internet will be there, internet in the sense, so this is the internet. Many routers are there. A WAN is a wide area network. A larger network is connected, and from here R5, ISP, R7. So routers say this is internet service provider, and it reaches the box. So this is the overall internet what we call. In this way only, the diagram here it shows at the domain at the network layer, host to host communication takes place, but at the transport layer, it takes to process communication from one process to this process is running at the application layer, a running program at the application layer. So process to process communication takes place at the transport layer. The now it's hello. Okay. So how we are going to address the services like we use mainly the port numbers at the transport layer. So there are few ways to achieve process-to-process communication. The most common by through the client-server paradigm. Client is the request sender, and the server is what where the destination will be there. So that process is used in order to understand this process of transport layer services. A process on a local host called a client needs service from a process usually on a remote host called server. So the local host, the sender, I am the sender, I am the host. I need some information where from a server, where it from a remote host or a remote device. So that we call it as a server. So this operating system today supports both multi-user. Multi-user means I can act as a server and client. So that suppose that technology has been implemented in the recent what we can call generations. For communication, we must define the local host, local process, remote host, and remote process. Local host means the device at the up to the network layer, up to the router level, or the device what we are using. And the local process is from the application layer. So in between, the transport layer will play a very good role in order to connect or in order to process the following whatever the packets we are sending. By using these port numbers is one of the method where we use for the process to process communication. And a remote host and a remote process. You can see in the slides. So the local host and the remote host are defined using IP address. So to define the process, we need second identifiers called port numbers. So in the remote host, as I told in the module 3, at the network layer, we are going to talk about IP address. IP address is given for a host to host device. But when it comes to the port process, so we need to give a different identifier name. So that we are going to give as a port number. That port number will be 02, that is a 16-bit port number. So we can have up to 0 to 65,535 port numbers. So all the port numbers is again divided into 3 groups. So the 3 groups is what we call, see here example we'll see a client program defines itself with a port number called the empirical port number. The word empirical means short-lived and is used because the client is normally short. So within 1000 to 223, within that port numbers, a single, for a particular application, a single port number is used. For a single process, single port process can be, port number is used. So 65,535 means you can run a 65,535 process in a single computer in order to connect to an internet, right? So for example, one web browser, one Gmail, what you are, or file transfer application. So in there, a lot of process what we call. The port numbers we use here when a client is using, we call it as empirical port numbers. At the destination, the same empirical port numbers cannot be used because this is randomly chosen. At the destination, we call it as a well-known port numbers. So I will give an example. We can go through that. The server process must also define itself with a port number. So this port number, however, cannot be chosen randomly. At the destination, we cannot choose randomly. So we need to choose a specific port numbers that is it is assigned a common to all globe. So that port numbers, we call it as a well-known port number. So one solution would be to send a special packet and request the port number of a specific server, but this creates more overhead. See, if the server will assign a particular port number, but at the client is the sender, server is the receiver, you think. So server will set a particular port number to a particular process, and client will have a empirical port number. But in order to send any messages, it should know the receiver port number, a well-known port number, but it cannot receive. It cannot ask. It cannot ask the receiver. We can create a special packet and send to the receiver in order to get a port number. But again, what happens in the internet? Again, creating a special packet or sending a special packet will create a overhead. Overhead in the sense the efficiency of the communication will reduce. So in order to avoid that, the international control on computers and networking and numbers, they have assigned a well-known port numbers for every process. They have given a particular port numbers throughout wherever we are using that well-known port numbers are used. So that is what it is telling here. So TCP/IP protocol suite has decided to use a universal port numbers for servers. So these are called well-known port numbers. So what you understood? You understood empirical port numbers, which is a temporary short-lived port numbers at the client. So it will be chosen between 1023. At the server level, we need to have a special port numbers which cannot be chosen randomly. So under the TCP/IP protocol suite, so we need to choose a universal port numbers, what we call it as well-known port numbers here. There are some exceptions to these rules. For example, there are clients that are assigned well-known port numbers. Every client process knows the well-known port number of the corresponding server process. For example, a daytime client, what we call a daytime client and a daytime server, what we talk about is a process. A well-known client program can use an empirical port numbers to identify itself, and the daytime server process must use the well-known port number 13, which is a permanent port number at the server what we can view. You can see these red lines. So empirical port number is used as 52 to 52,000. This is a daytime client example. A daytime client and server we are going to use. You can see here daytime client we choose a 52,000 as a empirical port, and the server it will be daytime server will be having 13 as a port number. So a data is appended and it will be transferred at the receiver, that is the server. Server based on this, so you can communicate. So bidirectionally it can communicate with this port numbers. So this port numbers is very, very important in the process to process communication in order to reach a particular process when the packet has been received at the network layer. So in order to reach to a particular process, so this port numbers is very important. So transport layer will help in connecting between the network layer and the application layer. The application layer is the top layer where the user interface takes. Who is the user interface? We are the user interface. So we need to assign where we are working. So we are the application layer users. So this is how the port numbers are assigned. So more detail we can see here. Here you can see a destination also is included in this case because we are going to send to host also is important IP address. Host to host communication and process to process communication takes place. Therefore, IP address is also very important here. So from the server, it is been sent. From there, you will be having data. You will be having the port server port number. This is at the server level, and destination IP address will be provided. And at the transport layer, this destination IP address will be decapsulated, and it will reach to the transport layer based on the process. See, there will be a different many process. This dotted lines, if you see here in the application layer, you can come to know that there will be many process running at the same time, that is multi-process. So in order to reach to a particular process, we need to we need to give this port numbers. A well-known port number is given. So the particular data will reach to this particular port number, that is 13 for a daytime server program or a process what we call. Right. So try to understand this. You already know a 32-bit IP address where we used to find the destination. A well-known port number 0 to 1023 and 1024 to 49151. So is the registered port numbers, and this from 49152 to 65535 is a dynamic or private port numbers what we assign. So ICANN is an international council for assigning numbers numbers for the internet. That is ISP numbers, port numbers, IP numbers. This is a standard organization where the standard values IP addresses will be assigned. So from there you are going to get a port numbers. So we have well-known port numbers, registered port numbers, and dynamic port or private port numbers. The well-known port numbers is used from 0 to 1023. The well-known port number is are assigned and controlled by the ICANN. So they are assigned, they will assign and they will be controlled by the ICANN organization. Where because it is universal port number. So overall, wherever you use the particular process will have a fixed port numbers. So it will be controlled by them. And registered ports the ports ranging from 1024 to 49151 are not assigned or controlled by ICANN. So they can only be registered with ICANN to prevent duplication. So they can register, but it is not controlled by the ICANN. ICANN is an organization. And dynamic ports are neither controlled nor registered. They can use as a temporary or private port numbers. So they will be using as a temporary or private port numbers by the client. So for example, this what I've told, you can see here. We have taken an example in Unix operating system. Well-known port numbers are stored in the file called etc services. So each line in this file gives the name of the server and the well-known port numbers. So when you are giving, we can use grep utility to extract the line corresponding to the desired application. So that is here, you can see here GRP TFT FTP file application layer. It is a file transfer protocol. FTP means file transfer protocol. ETC services. So the port numbers is 69 here for the both TCP and UDP, the transmission control protocol and the user datagram protocol. These are comes at the transport layer. FTP comes at the application layer, right? So this GRP again, small simple net management protocol, which is will be having a what the port numbers as 161 and 162 is used for the UDP for the transference for SNMP, the another type of protocol. So in this way, we are going to understand where the uh, port numbers are assigned, well-known port numbers was assigned, and from where we can get. So this can be used for further communication between the process to process. So this is all about process to process. And one more thing we need to understand is when we cannot only have the port numbers and communicate between the source and destination. We need to have an IP address also. So the including of source and IP addresses, that is port numbers and IP address, we call it as socket address. The transport layer protocol in the TCP suite needs both the IP address and the port numbers at each end to make a connection. The combination of an IP address and a port numbers is called socket address. The client socket address defines the client process uniquely, just as the server socket address defines the server's process uniquely. As a socket, a combination of IP address and the port numbers is called socket address. The first header contains the IP address and the second header contains the port number. So you know what is the encapsulation and decapsulation at the server source layer. We are going to encapsulate. At the receiver, we are going to decapsulate. You can go through that. I don't. Here we call the packets, the payloads. We call it as packets here at the transport layer, or user datagram or segments. Also we can call. So normally we call it as packets at the transport layer. So this is how the process. The process is a message at the application layer, and when it comes to the transport layer, a header is added. More information regarding the sequence number, acknowledgement numbers, and the process-to-process communication. That is the socket address. So port numbers, all these things will be added as a header, and it will be sent. So that we call it as a packet. So at the receiver side, a decapsulation takes place, that is removing of the header and the particular process we are going to give to the application layer. So take down this diagram. Through this diagram, you can understand. Today, the logical channel, that is the logical connections will be there between source and destination, that is client and server. right? So multiplexing and demultiplexing is similar. What process, many process will be multiplexed. You can see here at the sender side, all the process will multiplex and forms a packet. But while transmitting, the one of the process will be running in the other server. So two process M1 and M3 will be running here in this server, and one other process will be running here. So while transmitting, it will be transmitting with a different path, and it will reach the destination. So here the demultiplexing will take place. So that where it want to transmit, all the details will be updated here. This is what multiplexing and demultiplexing. So you can go through that. Similarly, flow control, as we know, producers and consumers. So the consumer should consume whatever the producers is been sending or produced. So if the process, if the system is slow, so more production is there, but the consumption is less, means then the packets will be dropped or the overhead is there. Therefore, we need to have a flow control. So for in the flow control, so that is if the items are produced more slowly than they can consume, the consumer must wait and the system becomes less efficient. So if the production is less also, then there is a problem. If the production is more also, then we will have a problem. So therefore, you are using a two techniques, that is pushing and pulling technique. So delivering of the items from a producer to a consumer can occur in one of the two ways, that is pushing or pulling. If the sender delivers item whenever they are produced without a prior request from the consumer, the delivery is referred to as pushing. If the produce delivers the items after the consumers has requested, then the delivery is referred to as pulling. So we have two types, pushing and pulling. So you can see in this diagram, a consumer write down the diagram. Okay. So here we can see the flow control. Producer will push the whatever the packets it has been producing, but the consumer is not capable of processing. Overhead will take place. Therefore, a flow control is used in order to tell the producer to reduce the speed of producing. And in the second pulling case, the second pulling case, the consumer will request to the producer to send. Therefore, we does not require a flow control. So whenever the consumer wants the packets, so during that time it will be requesting from the producer. Therefore, a request sign you can see. So this is how the transport layer services we can see of flow control. So the same thing is explained theoretically. You can see here we'll be having buffers are used, and before that sender can act as both consumers and producers. So the same message diagram what you have seen here, the same thing it is shown with respect to the transport layer and application layer, where it can act both as a consumer and producers, servers and the sender and the receiver. As an example. Similarly, error control. I'm not elaborating this because we already talked about all these things, detecting, discarding the corrupted packets, keeping track of the lost or discarded packets, recognizing the duplicate packets, buffering out of the packets. So all these things are the error control. Error control mechanism is used here. A sequence number will be used. So in the next class, we'll talk briefly about this error control, and then we'll go with the protocols, that is simple conjunction control, and then we'll go with the connection oriented services and the protocols. Right. Thank you.